All right, welcome to this explainer on what is arguably the most fiercely contested, agonizingly difficult record to break in all of sports history. The World Cup only happens once every 4 years, right? So players get very, very few chances to actually make their mark on the grandest stage. Today, we're going to break down the absolutely fascinating data behind the World Cup goal-scoring crown. Just think about the sheer scale of the tournament's history for a second. Over 22 final tournaments, more than 2,700 goals have been scored by nearly 1,300 different footballers from dozens of nations. The pressure is immense, the margins are razor thin, and your window of opportunity closes incredibly fast. And yet, a select few have risen above the rest to really etch their names into the history books. So out of all those players, who is the greatest World Cup goal scorer of all time? Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our playbook for the explainer. 1. The ultimate crown. 2. The timeline of the record. 3. Single tournament wonders. 4. The elite double-digit club. And 5. Active chasers and future kings.
Chapter 1. The ultimate crown. Miroslav Klose's mountain.
16. That is the magic number. Out of the thousands of players who have ever laced up boots at a World Cup, only one man has reached 16 goals. Germany's tireless, absolutely relentless striker, Miroslav Klose.
Now, you have to remember, Klose didn't just pull this off overnight. This was a methodical 4-tournament grind. Just look at this journey. Back in 2002, he makes a massive statement on his debut by scoring a hat-trick against Saudi Arabia. And actually, all 5 of his goals in that tournament were headers, which is a single-edition record. Then, in 2006, on home soil, he locks down the golden shoe with another 5 goals. He adds 4 more in 2010, and finally, in 2014, he scores 2 crucial goals, including that historic strike against Brazil during the seismic 7-1 semifinal, putting him totally clear as the greatest. What's kind of funny, though, is that after his legendary debut hat-trick in 2002, Klose admitted he felt so sick with nerves on the team bus that he barely even slept.
But, Klose wasn't just a goal-scoring machine. He genuinely savored these moments. During that 2006 tournament, he scored twice against Costa Rica, right on his 28th birthday, which gave us this awesome quote. "There's nothing better than getting a win on your birthday with the team and scoring 2 goals. It just adds a great little touch of human personality to an otherwise terrifyingly efficient career."
Moving on to Chapter 2, Timeline of the Record. Passing the torch.
So looking at how this evolved over time, we see the torch being passed from generation to generation. In the very first tournament in 1930, Argentina's Guillermo Stabile sets the first benchmark with 8 goals. Sandor Kosas pushes it to 11 in 54, and Francis Just Fontaine hits 13 in 1958. Then in 1974, West Germany's Gerd Müller claims the record with 14 goals. Now look closely at that gap. Müller's record stood stubbornly for 3 entire decades. It seemed completely untouchable, until Brazil's Ronaldo finally arrived, bagging 15 across his tournaments, capping it off in 2006. And of course, Klose finally takes the turn in 2014. Section 3, Single Tournament Wonders. Explosive efficiency. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between career longevity and just sheer explosive efficiency. On one side, you've got Miroslav Klose, grinding out 16 goals over 24 matches spanning 4 different World Cups. On the flip side, you have Just Fontaine from France. In the 1958 tournament alone, Fontaine scored an unbelievable 13 goals in just 6 matches. Let that sink in for a second. He almost matched a 4-tournament career record in just a couple of weeks. Absolutely wild. Okay, just to keep things moving, let's rattle off a few mind-blowing efficiency facts here. Out of the 1,300 goal scorers in World Cup history, only 101 have scored 5 or more goals. Even crazier, only 6 players average 2 or more goals per match. But my absolute favorite statistical anomaly has to be Poland's Ernst Wilimowski. Back in 1938, he scored 4 goals in a thrilling 6-5 defeat against Brazil. Can you imagine getting called up for the biggest tournament of your life, playing exactly 1 match, scoring 4 goals, and literally never coming back? That gives him an impossible, untouchable 4.0 goals-to-game ratio. Section 4. The elite double-digit club. The greatest of all time. So, out of all those hundreds of players we talked about earlier, only these titans have ever reached 13 or more goals. Here's our top 5. Klose at the top with 16, Brazil's Ronaldo with 15, Gerd Müller with 14, and tied for 4th are Just Fontaine and Lionel Messi with 13 apiece. Notice the massive variance in matches played to get there, from Fontaine's astonishing 6 matches all the way to Messi's incredible longevity spanning 26 matches.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how agonizingly tight the race is right at the very summit. Look at the top three, 16, 15, 14. They're separated by the slimmest single margins of greatness. Just think about it. One more successful penalty kick, one more header from a corner, and the entire historical order shifts. It's a huge testament to exactly how difficult it is to score at this level.
Which brings us to Chapter 5, Active Chasers and Future Kings. The race continues.
We've got to start with the maestro himself, Lionel Messi. For years, the World Cup was the one trophy that kept eluding him. But with his incredible career-capping performance in 2022, where he scored twice in the final against France, he finally vaulted himself into the rarefied air of the top 5 with 13 total goals. He's currently the highest-scoring active player in World Cup history.
But there is a storm brewing right behind him, and his name is Kylian Mbappé. The French superstar already has 12 World Cup goals to his name. Let's break down exactly where he scores them. 4 in the group stage, 4 in the early knockouts, and an unprecedented 4 goals in World Cup final matches alone. He scored 1 in the 2018 final and has a historic hat-trick in the 2022 final. To perform like that when the pressure is at its absolute highest is just unheard of.
And this leads us to what we like to call the Mbappé trajectory. By the time the 2022 World Cup ended, Mbappé was still only 23 years old, yet he had already tied the legendary Pelé with 12 World Cup goals. Because of his youth, his unbelievable scoring efficiency, and France's tendency to go super deep into tournaments, he's the absolute heir apparent to the crown. He is the ultimate modern threat to Miroslav Klose's record.
So, what does this all mean for us? The crucial takeaway from all this data is that while Miroslav Klose stands alone at the peak today, records are ultimately meant to be broken. The history of the World Cup shows us that every few decades, a new generational talent arrives to completely push the boundaries of what we thought was possible. With the incredible talent of the modern era, I'll leave you with this final, thrilling question. Who will be the next to wear the World Cup goal-scoring crown? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep your eyes on the stats, and I'll catch you next time.